What if I told you that Fallout 3, a game that's over 15 years old, has the incredible ability to predict the future? And not the boring stuff we know is going to happen, like
450 per gallon for regular.
Then maybe Canada should just become the 51st state.
I mean events so incredibly specific, it's almost uncanny. Natural disasters, the deaths of major political figures, the passing of your favorite celebrities, and even America's most cherished institution, the Oscars. All have been mere puppets on a string pulled by the one true mastermind this entire time. I know the idea sounds like fiction, but oftentimes reality is even stranger, because the biggest events of our history are merely a product of the smallest numbers in Fallout 3. This is how our story begins when a video is uploaded to YouTube with perhaps the greatest title known to man, Fallout 3, Weird-Ass Enclave Radio Signal. The video is sparse with content and frame rates, but its intrigue lies within the player's radio. There comes a point in the main quest of Fallout 3 where the player encounters the main enemy faction, the Enclave, and has the ability to destroy their entire base. Their once lively propaganda-pumping radio station, Enclave Radio, is now stuck repeating the same phrase.
Stand now at the precipice. Stand now at the precipice.
Which is what?
Stand now at the precipice.
Which is
Stand now.
Which is the aforementioned weird-ass radio signal. For as benign as this video was, it left some with an uncomfy feeling. The message was just a bizarre glitch, repeating the same phrase about the button Mario presses to let people know he has to piss. But the message just kept going and going, almost as if it was no glitch at all. So some Fallout fans began to think, what if the messages on the radio were even spookier? It's now January 2010. A user on the Bethesda forums asks a simple question.
What do you make of this?
The "this" in question is a JPEG that displays the following image. In the image, you can see strange markings called letters that, when arranged in a specific order, creates a word that makes a story. Really trying to tap into the CoComelon demographic here, guys. It's a relatively short story, but I'll quickly summarize. The story is from the perspective of an anonymous Fallout 3 player, who we'll call John Fallout. John was casually playing Fallout 3 when he decided to euthanize 3Dog, the in-game radio host. The radio is then hosted by a different NPC, Margaret, who sounds like this.
We're here, he'd say something witty, but he's not, because somebody killed him.
After successfully letting the dogs out, John goes exploring the wasteland. He destroys the Enclave base and tunes into Galaxy News Radio, expecting to hear his favorite wasteland tunes. Only the voice of the very DJ he just murked cuts in. 3Dog dryly reads off a set of numbers and then phases out of existence, and the radio goes back to normal. John Fallout noticed that in very specific spots around the wasteland, Galaxy News Radio would read off a cryptic set of numbers in Morse code instead of its usual jaunty music. When John reported these numbers to other Fallout fans, they decoded that these numbers were actually messages to the player. These messages varied wildly and were accompanied by specific dates. Some examples include
April 15th, 1865. He's dead, and the blame will be placed on that actor, Booth. Accident in the Gulf. Several dead. Oil spill apparently averted. And have you watched my YouTube video yet? I uploaded myself kicking bums in the nuts. 24/16, December 24th, 2012.
And the story ends with one final message that the player can hear.
I can't believe they've actually done it. Not long left. They were warned, but they just had to keep pushing. The noise. I can't take the noise. I'm not going to wait for death. I have a pistol in the attic.
The date of this message was July 6th, 2027. Oh my goodness. The initial reactions from the other forum members were skeptical, to put it lightly. This just sounded too creepy to be true. It was nothing more than a creepypasta. Or so they thought. As the story slowly migrated from outside the original forums, something bizarre happened. People started to actually believe it. The once singular label of a silly creepypasta had bifurcated, and soon the story of the mysterious Fallout number station had become something far more compelling: urban legend. All for one simple reason: plausibility.
On April 20th,
An explosion ripped through BP Deepwater Horizon drilling rig.
Believe it or not, some of these predictions were actually correct. The oil spill it referenced ended up happening that same year. Weird. Another message read, "What you talking about? You'll be missed." This was in reference to actor Gary Coleman.
What you talking about, Willis?
And what do you know, that same year Gary Coleman unfortunately passed away. The YouTube message also came true too, as a video was uploaded on that date with the exact same title. It hasn't been archived, but I imagine the video looks something like this.
Don't get too close now, Pa.
This story also thematically fit in the Fallout universe as well, seeing as the franchise is no stranger to dark and creepy things.
You son of a...
Throughout the wasteland of Fallout 3, there are actual radio stations you can find that transmit cryptic messages through Morse code. Granted, they're just lame stuff like a man trapped underground pleading for his life.
Boring.
Come back when you tell me about the ostrich with the balls video. Number stations like the one in this story are also used in the real world too, like these spies who were caught using number stations to transmit intel to Cuba, which is
Communist target acquired.
an important staple of gaming urban legends that make them believable was arbitrary complexity. Yes, the story itself was vague, but the details of how to hear the numbers was very clear. You can only hear it in this spot, or this spot. You have to complete this arbitrary action, but not this one. It made such little sense that in a weird way it made perfect sense. This Easter egg was so insane, so preposterous, that you had to do something just as insane to find it. Maybe this story was obviously fake to some, but for others, the crazy hoops you had to jump through just made it all the more believable. So the more coincidences that lined up, the more people's beliefs faltered.
I'm extracting Fallout 3 sound files so I can debunk this myth.
I mean, it's a creepypasta. But sure, did you find anything at all?
When the voice actor for Three Dog, an industry professional with years of experience who took time out of his busy schedule to talk to a bunch of Redditors, did an AMA on the Fallout subreddit, one of the first questions was about the numbers story. He didn't respond to that one. This just in. From a repost on the Minecraft forum of all places. Through intensive peer-reviewed study, someone discovered the exact conditions needed to hear the numbers. All you had to do was blow up Megaton, kill Fox immediately after Raven Rock, This is going to be quite difficult. You need the Lincoln Repeater. That's it. Kill the Chinese remnants in Mama Dulce's. Get through Fort Constantine and attempt to launch the ICBM. Kill Harold.
I can't believe the tree is talking to me.
Fireworks. And last, you needed to kill Tenpenny.
Nice to see you. Carry on.
Anyway, if you ever want to find the number stations for yourself, these are the steps that you have to follow.
Enjoy.
Now people were creating what the actual numbers sounded like. The mods on the Fallout wiki were reportedly silencing any threads talking about it.
What do you know?
Is Fallout 3 predicting the future? Is this true?
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
For as compelling this story was, it wasn't real. Like, come on. It was basically just this.
Oh my gosh! I'm floating!
Number.
I'm not a
Number.
I'm a
Gary Coleman.
Let's look at the hard evidence. Firstly, when a Bethesda representative was asked if the story was true, he said,
Nah, I don't think so.
There's also no audio files anywhere within the game's code of Three Dog listing off these numbers. You're not convinced? Okay. Well, I personally completed every condition outlined in the story. I even did the Minecraft man's totally real ones too. And nothing. Still don't believe me. Okay. Well, let's just use our brains for a second here. Do you really think if this was some Illuminati level temporal rift that it would be communicated through Fallout 3 by Bethesda of all people? Don't get me wrong, I love their games to death, but they still haven't figured out how mortality or physics work. I also left out a few other predictions these numbers called for, like that Britney Spears would win an Oscar in 2023. Which didn't happen, or that the Queen of England would die in 2014. Elizabeth, what do you have to say about that?
Peggy 18.
This was also wrong. Side note, the Fallout Myth Wiki states that this prediction was correct even though it was off by nearly a decade. So technically, yes, it was correct that the Queen would eventually die, but that'd be like if I said, mark my words, in the next 100 years, The Rock will probably die. Call me the next prophet. Also, this entire story is just a retelling of the plot of a Nicolas Cage movie, where a set of numbers predicts the future, a concept which was also in the TV show Lost. The only genuine mystery here is that despite the fact the story was shared around at the start of 2010, it still correctly predicted both Gary Coleman's death and an oil spill would happen that year. Definitely some crazy timing, but probably more of a broken clock right twice a day type deal than a space-time shattering conspiracy. Or the dates of the forum are incorrect and it was written later, but who knows. Yet in the face of all this very obvious evidence, there are still people asking how to find the number station Easter egg.
It's like, I know it's fake, but it feels really good.
What if I told you that a simple creepy story someone made up over a decade ago would become one of Fallout's biggest forays into the sometimes frustrating but always fascinating world of urban legends? Even now, there are still many that reference this very story. When the Queen of England actually died, many checked to see if the story was right. The fan-run site GalaxyNewsRadio.info briefly flashed a series of spooky numbers. The Frontier mod, for all its, shortcomings, had a mysterious number station that played Morse code messages. Some mods even added the station to the game. It could even rap. And for as much as I joked about it, I'd be lying if this story didn't give me a little spook when I first read it as a kid. It was a story that worked better than it should have, and one that most Fallout fans will never forget. It worked well enough that it inspired one person to write the most insane backstory I've ever heard. A backstory that will, funnily enough, make a fitting end to our story. Hello, I'd like to share with you a tale that my late friend, Stephen McIntosh, told me shortly before he accidentally fell from an office window after leaning on it. Someone had forgotten to lock before leaving, the official report said. The version that he told me was not actually a story, but an excited babble about future predictions, conspiracies, and how all the pieces fit together. He may have added more detail, but it just so happens that he left his circuit box open during the night, and also happened to have a pair of wire cutters left there. And some hoodlums had decided to cut the phone wires. You may be wondering why they only cut the phone wire, or why people would do this to be able to see the circuit box, let alone climb over 4 consecutive fences and 2 hedgerows. But I've learned to stop asking questions about that subject. Some things are better left untouched. I have managed to condense his ramblings into a tale. My God, what could be so earth-shattering? A deep state cover-up? The truth about aliens? How Donkey was able to have kids with a dragon? No, it's a creepypasta. Many thanks to my patrons and channel members. It's your support that makes these videos possible, and I can't thank you enough. I also just wanted to quickly say that in April of this year, I was at around 1,000 subscribers. Since then, we're now at 35 times that. That is truly insane growth, and I still haven't really wrapped my head around that yet. So genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for supporting my passion. Just making a video has been rewarding in and of itself, but to have such immense validation from all of you is it's just crazy. Next year I have some big videos planned for the channel, so be on the lookout, because this train's going to keep rolling full steam ahead. Stay safe, and I'll see you real soon.